Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Damascus gear, Operation Tokyo. Why do we have so many games with Tokyo in the name? This is starting to get a bit ridiculous. You got New Tokyo Legacy coming out in June, you got... I'm not even going to bother listing them, let's just get into the game. Right, I forgot, it uses Circle on X because this is a Japanese game. So I've been playing for about 2 hours, 15 minutes, so yeah, 2.5 hours, something close to that. And here we are. This is my mech. It is a very big mech. And yet, on the game screen, it looks quite small. So, I'm going to take a quick look around first. First, you've got your options, your background music, your sound effects, and your auto cell. Turn this on to no green or blue immediately, because seriously, it's the best way to filter out the crappy parts. You've also got the report, which lets you check all your part collections, so you can see how many parts you've gotten in the game. As you can see, I've gotten about 14% of the parts. I think the 11% is like that plus the DLC parts. I do have the DLC, and I'll explain what that is in a little bit. We've got the shop, which lets you buy some parts if you do need them, but you can also buy repair kits. I recommend buying lots of repair kits, because you're going to need a fair bit of them, or at least if you want to actually succeed in some of the missions. You're going to want a fair bit of repair kits, that's for sure. Did not mean to go into the shop again, because I'm an idiot. Let's just wait for it to load. Thankfully, the load times are actually pretty quick, so you don't have to sit around waiting for too long. It'd be nice if it was instant, but I mean, there's not that much you can do about quick loading times like that. So here we are in the dock, and the dock is where you equip parts to your mech. As you can see on the left there, you have a bunch of different stats, and on the right, you've also got a bunch of skills, and the different color of the skill means you have a different set of abilities that go along with it. So as you can see here, plus 50% physical resistance and some higher defense on these pieces of armor, and this one has poor endurance, which makes it completely fucking worthless as an armor piece. So why do we even have that? I don't know, it's just some crap I picked up along the way, but you can... As we can see, we can just sell our parts that we don't really need, and we can hopefully be a little bit more better equipped for the next set of missions. We'll just ignore the rest of them for now, because selling everything is going to be a bit time-consuming. We've also got a bunch of different weapon types. You've got drill arms, you've got swords, you've got lances, I guess they'd be called. You got What are these? What are these? These are laser rifles of some kind. I wonder if I've got any that are particularly stronger than the one I've got here. I don't think I do. Unfortunately. I've got some that are just a little bit less crap, but not entirely. This one actually looks alright. Let's go with this. And I'm gonna... Is there a better sword? A little bit better on the energy consumption, so we'll go with that. And I will equip some different weapons, but they're weaker weapons, so I'll end up having to play a crappier mission for that. And also, we've got back weapons, and there are a bunch of different types of these as well. I prefer, well, this one now, because this is just straight up more powerful. But I prefer the big ones that do lots of splash damage. There's also a laser, which cuts through absolutely everything, and I don't actually know what this is yet, but it looks like a flamethrower of some kind, so that'll be fun, won't it? Let's get on to the actual missions now. So the idea is, you beat missions in a specific rank, and once you've beaten enough missions in that rank, or you beat the mission that lets you move on to the next rank, you move on to the next rank, and the next rank has tougher enemies, and you just keep going like that. And there's also DLC missions. I got both the DLC packs, which add 5 missions apiece, and a lot of new weapons, and a lot of new pieces of armor, but they are like end-to-end game. We're talking after S rank, so I cannot play those for more than a couple of minutes. Actually, no, I'm lying. I can't play those for more than a couple of seconds without getting my ass handed to me. So, yeah, that's a bit of a dick. Well, we're going to play the Ueno Shelter Recapturing, and we can experience how the story plays out. It's basically just a bunch of text in front of a bunch of avatars of characters. It's not anything too special or anything like that. No voice acting. I don't know if the Japanese version had any voice acting, but... yeah, it just feels a bit weird not to have any voice acting here, even if it's just Japanese, because you'd think they would have Japanese voice acting. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Alright, so we have our mission summary screen there that just tells us what we need to do, what'll happen if they'll make us fail, and the parts that we'll get to finishing the mission successfully, but you'll usually get much better parts just by beating the crap out of people, so you usually don't need to worry about it. Alright, so here's how combat works. You can have 2 weapons on square and triangle, and they can be anything you like. You can have long-range weapons like this one, or short-range weapons like my sword. Your AI compatriots are actually pretty annoying because they'll go and do stuff without you. So they don't follow you around, you have to follow them, but it doesn't really matter. You've also got a back weapon that can be used with the circle button. I have a gigantic ass cannon that destroys everything, and I quite like it. Now, in the bottom left there, you've also got booster power. If you hold R, you can move around very quickly, or if you press X, you can dodge. Learn to dodge as early as possible, because you will need it come a later mission. Like this guy here, he shoots some really powerful shit that I really just messed up on dodging, so... yeah, so you gotta try and dodge a bunch of this guy's attacks, too. This guy just sucks, so I'm just gonna try and beat the crap out of him as fast as possible, alright? Sounds like fun. There's also the blue meter, which is your health meter. So, if that runs out, you die, but thankfully you also carry around med kits, which you use by pressing, not triangle, L, which is very useful. When you kill enemies, they drop parts, and if you want to suck in those parts a little quicker, you can tap the rear touchpad and it'll let you suck in any equipment around you. I'll demonstrate with these guys if they drop any parts. But thankfully, just keeping your finger over the rear touchpad or just holding it there, it makes a little bit of a noise, but it's not that annoying unless you're really, really paying attention to it. Alright, so there's a piece of equipment to my left. Tap, and it sucks it all in. Alright. So this is pretty much what the game is. I mean, there are different mission objectives. Like, there is an escort mission. There is a mission where you have to go around and break open crates to find people. Resources. You have to go and find resources, as I said. You have to go find... there is a mission where you just basically have to clear out an area. There is a mission where you're stuck in an arena and you have to fight off everything. There's a mission where you're stuck in an arena and you have to fight off one particularly strong mech pilot. But it's all about the same gameplay, really, which is hacky and slashy robot-y action, which is pretty much the best way to describe a game ever. But it's decent enough, because you're constantly getting new parts to upgrade yourself with, and you're always looking forward to the next mission, seeing if there's any new cool weapons you can use. You're always trying out new stuff, even if it's just total crap and you end up failing the mission because there's a bad weapon, because that's happened to me once or twice. You end up coming up against these big bosses a lot, and although it really is just down your repair packs, or as one might say if they were playing Diablo, health potions, they're still fun to fight against. The loot chain's what you're really here for, though, and the loot chain is quite enjoyable by itself. You get a bunch of different items and abilities and upgrades, and it's not too special in comparison to pretty much any other dungeon crawler you've ever played, but at the same time, it's still good enough to be... it's still good enough to be enjoyable by itself, so I don't see what issues you'd have with it, really. There is a lot of paths to go get, and again, I've been playing for about 2.5 hours, and I'm about, I don't know, 2 ranks in, so there might be like, let me think, I don't know, like 5 hours, that's way too low, like 7 or 8 at least, to finish the game completely, which is fill out the game's trophy set, which unfortunately doesn't include a platinum. You have to finish every mission. You have to finish every mission with an S rank, so that'll take you a fair amount of time, because it is based on time, and you cannot finish these missions with good times if your mech does absolutely terrible damage. So you will need to go back and play older missions again. And there are a ton of missions, and the DLC missions do add even more. I did get it through the press code that I got, so I don't need to pay for them. But you might need to pay for them. The game costs $15, right? And that'll get you your first, what, 7 to 8 hours of gameplay at least? I don't know off the top of my head, but you will probably get at least that many. I don't know how much a DLC is off the top of my head, but it'll probably be either $2 or $5, and oh dear, oh dear. It'll probably be at least $2 or $5, and you don't need to pay that, because you'll probably get a decent experience just right off the bat with the amount of missions and stuff you get in this game, just to start off with. Whoop, down goes Lilia. The AI in this game isn't fantastic at keeping yourself out of danger. Kind of annoying on the escort mission, actually. But it's alright, we took the bastard out. And we get the mission complete. It's a good looking game, that's for sure. All the effects keep going and there's no technical issues or anything like that. As far as I can tell anyway, in the 2.5 hours that I've been playing. I'll just skip this. There's all my parts there, and thankfully we can choose whether or not we want to sell all the parts that don't have the good characteristics. We'll sell them and we'll go back to our dock. And I'll equip some different weapons and go back to a different mission so that I don't get absolutely slaughtered. No technical missions. Do I want to... Yeah, I'll equip that. Why not? I do quite enjoy it, admittedly. It's a good game. I mean, of course it is. It's a Blade Dungeon Crawler by Arc System Works. They appear to be really good at this. I think, yeah, I'll go with this Lancer here. It's a really enjoyable time. I mean, the audio isn't actually that great, honestly. I mean, the music just fades into the background, and I don't really notice it, which is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. I've said before it's a good thing, but I mean, in this case, not really, because it just feels like it gets lost in the background sometimes, and, well, that's never really that good of a thing. Yeah, Dreadnought Bomber Range. Alright, we'll do this one with some weaker... Oh, shite. Oh, don't worry, I still got the big cannon on me back, so... Yeah, but just imagine a gigantic laser that fills up the screen. We'll probably see that once or twice in this fight, but... Yeah, that's basically how it works. It is very... similar graphics, that's for sure. You do end up looking at the same thing over and over again, but not that big of a deal. It's a dungeon crawler. You tend to do that. For people who like dungeon crawlers, I can't imagine them not liking this. It's perfectly enjoyable by itself. The combat is nothing special, but at the same time, it's enjoyable enough to get some fun out of it at the very least. Especially if you got a Lancer weapon like this and you focus on your dodges a bit and you try not to die horribly and fail miserably, but still, it's a perfectly good time by itself. Nothing special, but it's well made, well produced and all that. All that junk, right? Yeah, well produced, all that junk. But it's honestly enjoyable by itself, swapping between all your weapons and beating the crap out of everything that gets in your way, and all the flashy effects and explosions and all the leveling up. Leveling up makes you feel good, that's for sure. Well, not leveling up, but gearing up, I should say. There are no levels in this. You can customize your robot's paint job, but when you get around to changing your parts, it'll change the color of the part, which is a bit of a shame. I hate it when dungeon crawlers do that. I love being able to just wipe people out with this. The combat's satisfying. Not extremely satisfying, but still satisfying. The looting and shooting is all... Well, looting and shooting. Why would I call it looting and shooting? That sounds so silly. It's not looting and shooting, but the looting is also very satisfying. Getting a good weapon or a good piece of armor, getting a massive boost onto what you have. Always as satisfying as it is in a game like Diablo. And it looks fine, runs well. Unfortunately, it doesn't have multiplayer, which is a bit strange. I think did the Japanese version have multiplayer? I don't remember if it did. I really should have checked that, but still, no multiplayer, so that's what you're getting into if you play this. You get zero multiplayer, which is a bit of a shame. It would work pretty well with it, but I guess it just wasn't meant to be, but oh well. It's just perfectly enjoyable by itself, really. I have nothing more to say about it. For 15 bucks, it's pretty good time, really. I guess we're not going to get to see the big laser beam, unfortunately, but oh well. Let's just beat the crap out of this Black Sunday and go home and call this video a day, shall we? If you're looking for a dungeon crawler that's not your typical fantasy, like fantasy... no, it wasn't Fantasy Hero, that's right. If you're looking for a dungeon crawler that's not your typical fantasy, well, this will probably do ya. You'll get a few hours out of it. There's DLC if you want it. 15 bucks is a pretty reasonable price for a well-produced dungeon crawler that doesn't do anything new, but does what it does quite well, so I'm not really going to argue with its right to exist. Usually both my partners are dead by this point. I mean, this guy's just about to go down, so... oh well. Down goes Bowie. What a weird freaking name, Bowie. Aiming your weapons can be a little bit of a pain, but then again, there might be just some weapons that are just harder to aim than others, so, you know, it's not that big of a deal. I've really got nothing more to say about it other than it's competent of what it does. It doesn't do anything new, but it's worth your time if you're looking for something along the lines of this. Shame it has no multiplayer, and the DLC having post-game missions is a little annoying, but at the same time, you'll get more than enough out of your $15 worth. And then if you like it enough to buy the DLC missions, even better, really. And besides, as Arc System Works. Arc System Works deserves at least a bit of praise. They've been supporting the Vita amazingly over the past few months. Because I mean, there's been Magical Bee, there's been Fantasy Hero, there was Eterno Blade, which even though it doesn't say it was made by them, it was made by them, and unfortunately Eterno Blade kind of sucked. And of course, there's BlazBlue and the Guilty Gear game that came out, like last year, was it? Or year before, it's like 2013 now. Still, they have been supporting the Vita constantly. And most of their efforts have been well worth the time. Not something you can say about absolutely everyone that tries to put something out on the Vita. Alright, we're done here. And of course it does get repetitive, like pretty much every other dungeon crawler in the world, so you know, won't bother talking about that. But yeah, it's a perfectly fun, fine, enjoyable dungeon crawler with lots of loot, lots of weapons, lots of stuff to go beat up, and lots of stuff to do. Since you need to get S ranks on everything, so yeah, comes fully recommended from me. Go and have a good time. Nothing more to say about it. This has been Blue Maxima, checking out Damascus Gear, Operation Tokyo. I'll see you all next time.